Hello, welcome back to the Clement channel and welcome back to another installment of the Tube Review. It's just getting sillier and sillier as these videos go on. Yeah, we're doing another review of a film. This is one that not so much has been highly anticipating, but following with great interest for many years. Yeah, we're doing a review of The Flash. Ladies and gentlemen, it's The Flash, and oh boy. Disclaimer for people who are interested, first of all, for you to hear for this video, why not? I have not watched every single film in the DC cinematic universe, okay? I've seen Man of Steel. I like Man of Steel a lot. I've seen Batman vs Superman Dawn of Justice. It was garbage. And I've watched The Suicide Squad, the James Gunn version, which is really cool. I didn't watch the version before because it looked straight garbage. And I've seen the Snyder Cut as well, which was incredibly long and was fine. But, you know, probably did not need to be that long, let's be honest. I've not seen the Joss Whedon version of the Justice League because it sounded garbage as well. Yeah, so I've not seen Aquaman or Wonder Woman or any of these other flicks, to be honest, just because the whole universe of the DC films has been, for lack of a better phrase, a fucking mess, to be honest. I think there's been a lot of contributing factors as to why it's been so difficult for DC films to kind of find their footing, whether it's trying to play catch up to the MCU, because by the time they've started trying to cross over everything, I think this was like, when did the Snyder Cut, when did Dawn of Justice come out again? It was like 2016 or something, so like we're well past, you know, the Avengers had happened years before at this point. So yeah, a big game of catch up. You know, Warner Brothers just being completely ignorant and just interfering and micromanaging with every single aspect of the production process of these films. And, you know, just a lot of drama and all this other bullshit going on on set and off camera and all this kind of shit. So, yes, I think it's been a bit of a mess. And now that James Gunn has basically said that he's rebooting literally everything in the DC universe, apart from certain aspects, like I think Blue Beetle's coming back or whatever, and the Suicide, you know, so some certain elements are getting cherry picked anyway. It just never really mattered in the first place, to be honest. But The Flash was a film that was going to be very interesting, purely because this was going to be a big event. This is going to be a big, you know, multi-dimensional crazy nonsense. It was supposed to be based on the Flashpoint story in the DC comics, like a major big deal for a lot of different people. Like, it has Thomas Wayne as Batman and all this other crazy interdimensional shit. Now I read Flashpoint. I don't follow the Flash as a character. Like, I've always been a Marvel guy. Hey, as opposed to a DC guy, but I like DC, I like Batman particularly. But yeah, The Flash, I like The Flash. The Flash is really cool as a character, but I've never really read any Flash comics, and I'm not up to speed with everything Flash, and I've never read Flashpoint, okay? But I just want to get all of that out of the way, but I don't think it really matters because The Flash kind of just seems to exist in its own bubble. There's nothing really involved with any other films. If it's like the Zack Snyder verse or the Joss Whedon verse, it's all completely, it doesn't fucking matter, it seems to me. It never really seemed to matter. The only film that's particularly relevant for The Flash is Man of Steel, which I've seen. Anyway, now that all that convoluted shit is out of the way, I'm going to tell you what I thought of The Flash, spoiler free. Obviously, this was well after the film came out. I never watched it in the cinema, but I just watched it recently a couple of days ago because, you know, I was there to watch and I'm going to watch it because I'm intrigued. Obviously because Michael Keaton is in it. Michael Keaton's like one of my favourite Batmen of all time. The Tim Burton Batman films are some of my favourite superhero films ever. So yes, it was of great interest to me to see what this film is going to be like. Particularly because Michael Keaton was obviously there to be the big draw. But yeah, basically I just thought The Flash was like one of the superhero films of all time. It just kind of exists. It's okay, it's fine. It's not inherently terrible in any way. There's a lot of very serious issues with it that I think need to be addressed and have been addressed. I think people were thinking it was going to be like the saving grace of DC. It definitely isn't. It's not going to be anyway, because this whole shit is now basically irrelevant. A lot of these films have come out in the wake or just before James Gunn's takeover of DC films is irrelevant, like Black Adam and all this kind of stuff. You know, and that's not to take away from the film at all. It doesn't, because we're just talking about the film as a whole, as it exists. Because I've said this before many times, a lot of superhero films like this exist in a universe, or almost their own genre at this point, you know? Like, a Marvel film is like its own fucking, is wholly self-contained genre, because you can view it as a Marvel film, but you can also view it as a vacuum, as just a movie in general. And a lot of times, for example, like a lot of Marvel films can be really, really good as a Marvel movie within the confines of the MCU, but in a vacuum as a movie standalone, separate from everything, they can be kind of mid. And DC, while they don't have as many films, I think can certainly still they can still be held in that regard, for many different reasons. But The Flash in a vacuum is honestly, yeah, just mid as fuck. It's just okay. And since it almost doesn't really fit in the DC universe, because that whole thing is just fucked up anyway, yeah, it was just fine, you know. I think to the build up to the film, man, it certainly didn't help the fact that this film took years upon years upon years to come out. They started discussing this probably around the time of Black Adam, which is like, what, 2011, maybe even before then. Maybe a little bit after Black Adam's production hell. But certainly it was that kind of thing. It took forever to happen. It was in development hell for many years. And the hype and the discussion of a Flashpoint film coming out certainly did not hold up to the mark. You know, maybe if it didn't take so long for it to come out, it wouldn't have mattered. If the hype for this Flashpoint film wasn't as big as it was, it would have, I think it would probably be viewed by me and probably by a lot of other people as not as bad as it, or not as mid as it is. But because of all that contributing stuff, it really is kind of a fall flat on its face kind of moment. I also think the very serious allegations and controversy surrounding Ezra Miller as the Flash probably didn't help either. I think it was very ballsy of them to release this film anyway, considering all the other ridiculous, shitty things that Warner Brothers have done, like, you know, the Batgirl film that was supposed to come out that they just completely cancelled, even though it was just pretty much finished, is absolutely crazy. And then they release a film, because the whole reason why they didn't drop that film is because they thought it wasn't up to standard. But yet, they drop a film like The Flash. I mean, bruh, are you saying that Batgirl could have been worse than The Flash? Maybe it was, I don't know, but like The Flash is just like, meh. It's just kind of There's just a lot of things about it that are just kind of not that great, to be honest. It's one of the superhero films of all time, and I think all the contributing factors, like the Ezra Miller controversy, the years upon years of time it took for this film to come out, the constant switching and changing of Flash as the Flashpoint movie, and, you know, just the DC universe as a whole, all of the Snyder fans just wanting Snyder all the time, forever, always, and just all the other shit. It's just a big mess, and I think The Flash, at the very least, serves as, well, apart from Blue Beetle that'll be coming out, it's kind of like the final chapter in this crazy, convoluted madness that has been Warner Brothers and the DC cinematic universe for the past couple of years. Nearly a decade since Man of Steel. If you're a diehard DC film fan, you're going to watch The Flash. You probably watched it already. But if you haven't watched The Flash and you like superhero films and DC and stuff, I mean, it's not a film I would say never watch under any circumstances, because it's garbage. It's not like Batman vs Superman, where Batman vs Superman is just insufferable. There's a lot of good moments. Like, I like Ben Affleck as Batman, first of all, and he's in it a lot, and he's probably the only good thing about that film. But the rest of it's just straight shit. The Flash doesn't fall within that kind of category, I don't think. It's entertaining, it's popcorn entertainment, it's pretty, you know, it's nothing to take seriously. It's just, it is what it is, essentially. And it's just led down by all the other things I've said previously. And yeah, it's pretty simple. That's pretty much the way I saw it. One of the superhero films of all time, I'll say it one more time. And yeah, it just exists now, and I think that's just how people are going to remember The Flash, as a film, a superhero film that exists, the final chapter of the ludicrousness of DC films, and hopefully after Blue Beetle, we're going to actually get a sense of being on track and DC films can be good, because they should be good, you know what I mean? Like I say, I prefer Marvel just in terms of comics and characters and stuff, but DC films should be good. I think DC films should be allowed to thrive and be brilliant and amazing. So you've got an amazing cast of characters and stuff. And I hope to God that when Superman Legacy comes out, we're going to get on track with this shit, because it's a damn shame that the DC films got shafted as hard as they did. And yeah, that's kind of the whole overarching thing that the Flash represents. Anyway, I just kind of want to talk about spoilerific stuff. If you have not seen The Flash yet already, I know it's been out for a little while, but you know, you may not have seen it, I don't know. Basically, the biggest issue with The Flash is the story itself is just kind of wholly unremarkable, to be honest. There's just nothing particularly insane about it, especially because it's supposed to be a Flashpoint film. Now, don't get me wrong, I know that a lot of these comic book films that are based on story arcs, and I've mentioned this too, that they shouldn't be one-to-one with the comics because they're not the comics, and that's fine. I'm not arguing that at all, but because it's based on such a grand concept, you know, like with Civil War in the comics has like every superhero under the sun in it, and in Captain America Civil War it's just a big fight in an airport, but the film itself is still great because the story is solid and all this other shit. You know, The Flash is based on this big multiversal emotional journey. I mean, I'm not even going to pretend I know exactly what Flashpoint is about, but I know there's like the big scene where the Flash meets Bruce's parents and he comes back with a letter from Thomas Wayne to Bruce, and it's a big impact, heartfelt moment and stuff. There's a lot of this shit in Flashpoint, right? It just doesn't really happen in this film at all. It's all just basically based on the Flash trying to save his mother and redeem his father, because that's the whole story. Obviously, if you watch like the CW show and stuff, it's basically the same thing. Although that's the funny thing, obviously the idea is Barry's mum gets murdered, and his dad gets accused of it, and no one knows why it happened. And then I believe it's just the Reverse Flash that did it. Yeah, Reverse Flash kind of indirectly creates the Flash, but we don't ever see what actually happened. I don't know if it was supposed to be a build up for later, but yeah, we don't see actually the reason why. It just kind of is. Another thing that they actually really dropped the ball on was that there's no emotional impact really with the dynamic between Barry and his mother, you know, from when she gets murdered to when he goes back in time to try and prevent it from happening, to when he has to change it all, make up for the mistake, and actually bring it back to normal where she does get killed. Yeah, there's just no real emotional impact there, because it just all happens so quick and we just get introduced to all these people so fast. And because it's not an origin film for the Flash, like we get to see his origin story, but it's not him becoming the Flash, it's just him reversing some stuff. Do you know what I mean? You know, it's not like Tobey Maguire, it's not like Sam Raimi's Spider-Man where we get to know Uncle Ben. I know he's not even in it that much, but we get to understand his character and the dynamic that he has with Peter, and how he's just a nice old soul and a nice man. With great power comes great responsibility, and the last interaction that the two have is a bad argument, and then he gets murdered and killed, and we get to feel that impact, we get to feel that emotion from Peter, and then it sets him perfectly on the road to becoming a superhero. We just don't get that with this scene. Obviously, it's not him becoming a superhero because he already is one, but it's him reversing his mistakes and making up for what he's done, and better understanding the responsibility he has of his powers, I guess, and how he shouldn't abuse the laws of fucking time. But it's just not there, and we don't feel that. It just happens way too quick. It's just all in the moment. This is just all shit that's just crammed in. Especially, again, it's not an origin story. This is a film that takes place in amongst all this other stuff, and we then get to feel the emotion or meet these characters prior in a Flash movie. He's very much the Flash already in this movie. Maybe that's why we get his origin story with alternate reality Flash or whatever. But yeah, it just don't work the same way. You know, you just don't feel it. You know, it's just kind of, oh, that's a shame. There, pats Barry in the head type beat, and then it goes into the whole, oh, I just found out that I can go through time and dimensions and stuff because I run so goddamn fast. And then that's about it. I'll say this, it goes into the powers that the Flash actually has very well. Ezra Miller is a good Flash despite all the crazy controversies about them. You know, we can see that he can move so fast, he can phase through objects and that kind of thing, you know. It goes into the more intricate details of the Flash's powers, like he constantly needs to be eating and consuming calories because he burns them up so goddamn quick. The slow down time moments are really actually very well done. I like the yellow flash filter that goes over everything when he moves slow. Scenes like that always are really cool. You know, if you have speedster characters, like the X-Men films did that really well with Quicksilver, but I think this one's actually way cooler because there's a lot more, I don't know, there's just a lot more detail going on. It's not just like a face cam thing going on all the time, you know, you get to see everything going on and him saving people and moving things and causing a big chain reaction of things to happen in real time. Well, in a flash, essentially. Haha, no pun intended. But yeah, all that stuff's really cool. I like that he burns his clothes because he can run so fast and all this shit. Especially with like alternate dimension, Flash, Barry, whatever the fuck that goes in, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, the details are really interesting. The details and the actual physicalities of the Flash's powers are delved into very well. Like when alternate Barry grabs our Barry and runs with him, puts him down, and he just fucking vomits profusely because he's just moved like 1,000,000 miles per minute in a second, kind of thing. That's not exactly what happens, but yeah, it just goes to show it's not all about picking people up and running around with them really fast. That doesn't work that way. So yes, that was all very good. I think the Flash himself was definitely the highlight of the whole film. I actually really liked the Flash in this. I really did not in Batman vs Superman, even though he's only there for like 2 seconds. He was okay in the Snyder cut, you know. He wasn't my favourite character really at all. But he just got a big upgrade. The suit is much cooler. I really like the suit in this, honestly. And just everything about him, from the powers to his personality to all this stuff, I think is actually really good. Ezra Miller is a good actor, and I hope they can move past all this crazy ass fucking bullshit that they've been doing. Calm down. You know, get your life in check, buddy. You know what I'm saying? And get out there and do some acting in the future, you know? But yeah, the story in itself is just so fucking crazy. Like, it just does not know what it wants to do. At first it's like, gotta save my mum. I saved her. I'm in a different reality. I gotta get back. Oh wait, I can't. Oh shit, this world is being invaded by General Zod. The Man of Steel story's happening. Better get all the heroes together. Oh shit, they don't exist. Gotta find Superman. Oh wait, Superman's not in this world. It's Supergirl. Oh no, better save her. Oh shit, better fight Zod and stuff. Oh yeah, earlier on we gotta fight Batman. Oh wait, it's Michael Keaton. Oh well, here he is and there's Supergirl. Okay, time to fight Zod. Oh no, there's no way to fight this fight without everyone getting killed. Better go back in time and change it. Oh no, the multiverse is falling apart. Oh no, better save it. Multiverse is saved. Oh no, better reverse what I did with my Mimo. Okay, it ends. It's so all over the place. Like, fuck me. It's so crazy how all this shit just is happening all at once. It's such a higgledy-piggledy crazy, like, splatting together of different, like, plot elements going from, like, situation A to B to C to D to E and all this kind of stuff. Like the Man of Steel shit. I don't know why that was in it. Like, even the actor behind General Zod expressed his opinion that he does not care particularly for the idea of, like, big cinematic universes, and he didn't necessarily want to come back for this. And he's barely in it anyway, and he's constantly got that mad air bubble helmet thing over his head at all fucking times. So it didn't even matter. This whole story element is just so, like, why the fuck? Can it not just be about the deeper machinations of the timeline getting fucked up? The only time that actually comes into it is near the third act of the film, where they realise that this fight can't be won. So Barry's go back in time and fuck up the multiverse even more. It's just crazy to me how it's just everywhere. Like, it's just, what the fuck? Like, why is it the Man of Steel thing? Like, why bother going back to that? You know what I mean? It's because Man of Steel is the only DC film that's like, and I haven't seen them all, so forgive me if I say this, the only DC film that's like beyond tolerable, like, is actually pretty decent. I don't know. It just seemed very bizarre to me. I don't know if it's just another excuse to be like, oh look, it's another character from the films that you like and he's not been in it since Man of Steel. even though he's in it for about 5 minutes, and we don't even get a really good look at him, or whatever. Also, the whole fight sequence between the Kryptonians and all this shit is lame and garbage, baby. Holy shit, what a downgrade from Man of Steel. The fact that the whole Man of Steel fight between Zod and the Kryptonians and Superman and stuff takes place in Metropolis. This one takes place in a barren fucking desert that is so flat that it redefines the term flat. It is insane how it just basically takes place in a sandbox Minecraft world where there's nothing around it. I don't know if this is a budgetary thing, it fucking must be. It looks so stupid. The fact it takes place in this tiny little desert, fucking why does it take place in this tiny little desert? I just don't know why. It does not make sense. I'm not even saying it had to take place in Metropolis, but bruh, go somewhere where there's some life and vibrancy around it. Not this shitty desert where like no one is there. Like, it's as if it's just happening in its own little world, despite the fact that Krypton is invading Earth. And it's just all the Kryptonians, Batman, Supergirl, and the two Flashes are there. And that's fucking it. Huh? How? Why? I don't get it. Doesn't make any fucking sense to me. Where's the rest of the world in this situation? Do you know what I mean? Oh yeah, the military was there, but then it all got blown up, and then no one else turns up. Okay. It's just all very... It feels rushed, and just everything's all over the place, and it's just very silly. It doesn't make any sense. It does make sense. It does make sense. It's just all over the fucking place, and it feels like this film doesn't know what it wants to be, and it just feels like there's so many things happening all at once, and it keeps switching through different situations and plot points. It's insane. It should have just been, save mum, everyone gets fucked up, all crazy timeline things are happening, let's fix it. Because there's no real fixing going on. It's just like, jump from scenario to scenario, like, oh, there's another baddie, better get him his powers, oh, find Bruce, there's Batman, it's Michael Keaton, what's going on? Find Superman, it's a woman, Zod, eeeeee. And it's like, fucking slow down, bruh, calm, sell yourself. Coherent plot, that's important. And that's the lesson here, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, the conclusion of the film, like the big bad reveal is some of... the big bad reveal. He gets seen about twice, this scary rock Flash that Barry keeps meeting in, what is it called again? The Techno Bowl, the Speedo Bowl, the Multiversal Bowl, this rad pocket realm that he goes to where he's reversing time and thus like going through the multiverse or some fucking shit. He keeps meeting this little goblin critter that looks like him, and it's like, oh, what is it? Well, we don't know because we only see it twice. He's the one that pushes him into the other realm and stuff. He's called Dark Flash. I think he's in the comics. I think he was in the CW or whatever. He looks lame. He's just basically a rocky version of the Flash, and the big twist is it was other Flash the whole time because he's trying to reverse everything and find the right way, even though it's impossible. He's just stuck in the Speedo Bowl forever. And he's turned into this scary creature, and then I don't know. He realizes the error of his ways and dies, or he gets killed or something, and then that's it. I think his whole screen time must be about 5 minutes. Like, it was probably less time. I think Venom had more fucking time in Spider-Man 3 than Dark Flash did. I think Ironmonger had more time in Iron Man 1, Whiplash in Iron Man 2. All these supervillains that are renowned for being on screen for seconds at a time have had more screen time than Dark Flash. It was an interesting twist, I'll give them that, but it really did not give us enough intrigue or moments of Dark Flash for us to really fucking give a shit, to be honest. Let's be real. I don't know why they just didn't make Reverse Flash the villain, like whatever his name is, Eobard Thrawn or something. Like, why was he just not, like... Was it because the plot got in the way? Well, the plot was a fucking mess anyway, so surely they could have just done something to make Reverse Flash the villain. I think it would have been much more rewarding to see Reverse Flash in this big Flashpoint-esque Flash film in the DC cinematic universe. But alas, we get Dark Flash, and it's not very satisfying, kind of decent twist, but there's not enough anyway for it to really hit home and have that impact that it's actually supposed to have. So yes, that's lame too. Obviously, we do get a shitload of cameos and character appearances in this film. Ben Affleck does get a good bit of time as Batman again, which is always good. I always liked Ben Affleck as Batman. I think people shit on him maybe too hard. I just think he's one of the highlights of the films. Always thought he looked great. I love the whole Dark Knight Returns story arc they went in with Batman vs Superman. I think Ben Affleck is just cool as Batman. Always thought his Bruce Wayne looked exactly like the Bruce Wayne from the Arkham games and stuff. The suit looked cool, the Batmobile was great. I just liked him. He was great. He fitted the character very well. I especially like that they redid that whole Christian Bale voice cover thing by giving him a voice changer. You know, regardless of all that, he's in this film. It's nice to see. He gets a good, decent bit of screen time. He's not inherently involved with the plot at all, but he gets a nice little costume. He kind of has a bit of a blue, cool look going on. It's not as in your face as it could have been, but it looks great. The whole armor plating thing is there, you know, okay, the Batbike's cool. It's going through Glasgow, bruh. I saw Queen Street. I knew they were filming for the Flash, but bruh, I didn't know it was so obvious it was going to be in fucking Glasgow. I saw a train station that I regularly go to called Glasgow Queen Street in this film, which is really neat to see. And George Square and all that shit was there, so that was interesting, particularly for me. But he's cool. Just Ben Affleck being Batman and doing cool things, which is always good. Wonder Woman's in it for about 2 seconds. I don't really care for Wonder Woman in the DC films. Again, never saw Wonder Woman or 1984 or whatever film it was. I've heard that Wonder Woman is decent and 1984 is garbage. I just don't like Gail Gadot as Wonder Woman very much. She just seems like very boring to me. I like her theme song though. She always just appears, bro. I remember that in like Dawn of Justice. She just appears, and then it fucking was like, what? Wow, what a Deus Ex. And again, she Deus Exes in this film. She just appears, bruh, and then has a goofy moment with the lasso of truth, and everyone just gobbles. And fucking Barry says that he knows what sex is, but he's never experienced it. Yeah. Also, yeah, some of the humour in this film is ridiculous. I think Joss Whedon has irreparably damaged dialogue in comic book films forever. Its stain is still seen and felt in this film. I think the humor. I know Barry Allen's a comedic, you know, laughy, jokey, numbnuts guy, and that's fine. That's part of his character. I can accept that. It's just that the fact that the jokes are so hokey and daft and stupid. Yeah, the humor just does not work for me. It was not funny. I never laughed outwardly at any of the jokes in this fucking film. Yeah, just Joss Whedon's fucked us all forever. Hopefully we get past this hokey dialogue thing with comic book films, because the humour was just not very great, and the dialogue itself was never anything to run home about. There wasn't any powerful moments or monologues or anything that we would expect with films like this, to be honest. Michael Keaton was obviously the big draw for me as well. I was just desperate to see what he would be like returning as Batman for the first time in like 30 plus years or whatever it's, however long it's been since Batman Returns. And you know, a lot of people was critiquing the idea because he's old and whatever, but bruh, like, you know, Michael Keaton can still act, and I thought he was good as Batman, you know. It didn't necessarily feel the same, because obviously Tim Burton and his Batman films are so heavily stylized and have such a identifiable vibe and look and aesthetic about them, that it's basically just Michael Keaton ripped out of Tim Burton's world and put in this kind of bland, samey comic books DC world kind of thing, you know what I mean? But he's fine for the screen. He gets some decent screen time and he does some cool stuff and all that kind of shit, but it's like, you know, he's only there to make people come and see this film, do you know what I mean? And open up the idea of, wow, all these things are crossing over and stuff. But, you know, I don't think it's supposed to be Tim Burton's Batman world either is the big thing. It's just the Michael Keaton, Tim Burton Batman in this other world. But, you know, I love the bat suit. I love that he still moved around like his neck was broken a lot of the time. You know, it's great to hear his Batman score in the film and all this, the Batwing and all this other shit, the Batcave and all this other stuff that we know from the Tim Burton Batman stuff. It's good to see it. It's just like, you know, it's obviously there for nostalgia purposes, for rose-tinted glasses purposes, and for people to come and see The Flash. How well it worked, I don't know. I certainly didn't go to see it when it was in the cinema. But the fact that Michael Keaton was there was intriguing. But I didn't see it until way later. But you know, he was there and it was cool enough. He did enough. Oh, and he also didn't drive the Batmobile once for the whole film. He used the Batwing a lot. but not the Batmobile, one of the most iconic film renditions of the Batmobile of all time. One fucking word: whack. It was pretty fucking great. Like, the one I was not expecting was seeing George fucking Clooney pull up at the end. It was a big funny thing where the universe is back to normal. Bruce Wayne's here. Oh wait, it's George Clooney. I thought that was pretty hilarious, considering the fact that he swore he would never fucking do Batman ever again after being in Batman and Robin. That was funny. That was the funniest thing that happened. Just seeing George Clooney be there. That's insane to me. But yeah, the cameos did not stop there. Oh yeah, Supergirl, she was fine. It's whatever. The fact that she was there. Kara Zor-El. It's like cool, fine, you know. Would have been nice to see Henry Cavill, but you know, he's never coming back. He's gone. It's just a shame, really, that we never. He's just not in it. Like, Supergirl's fine, and she's decent enough for however long she's in it. She's not in it for too long, to be honest. She's got some decent screen time, but it's like not very much at all, to be real. We don't know anything about her backstory or anything, other than the fact that she fell to Earth like Calle did, and Calle got intercepted by Zod, and she didn't. Don't know anything that happened to her, don't know her backstory. No character development, really. She's just been locked up by the Ruskies for a while. She gets freed, and then I hate the humans. Oh wait, I like the humans because they're suffering. Save them! Fight Zod! Rah! And then that's all we really see from her, to be honest. The Supergirl suit's pretty cool, I guess. Other than that, it's like, yeah, she was fine. She was fine. Nothing else you can say about it, really. But she was fine. And finally, this film is littered with cameos, especially near the end. Just a metric shit ton of things to, like, I guess, try and heighten this film and establish the idea that it's like bringing all the DC things together. But it's not much. It's like the guy who first played Superman in like any kind of serialized TV thing, like the 40s. We see Christopher Reeve pull up. Adam West, you know, even though they're not really there. It's just little blips and scenes of them, but we'll get into all that shit in a minute. Hold on. And then we see Nicolas fucking Cage. This got spoiled for me online. Obviously enough time had passed where they're just posting spoilers everywhere, so I was very surprised to see that. I thought Nicolas Cage looked rad with like the Superman suit, like exposing the whole neck area, like Tim Burton's original. What was it called? Superman Lives, I think was the film that he was working on. So yeah, it was cool that they brought that back. It was cool that they've established he existed out there somewhere and whatever, with the hair and everything. But yeah, they were just little throwaway things that were there for like a couple of seconds at a time, and it really didn't mean anything. But the biggest thing about all of this was that the CG in this film was fucking awful. Like, it was PlayStation 2 graphics, maybe PlayStation 3 graphics. I'll be a bit more lenient than that. PS2 still had a bit of time to, you know, get up there or whatever. PS3 graphics, maybe. Everyone looked Uncanny Valley and stuff. Everyone looked Uncanny Valley as shit. No one looked like they were really on the screen, especially when it was like I can't remember the name of the bowl, the fucking tech speedo bowl thing, the multiverse spinning around and all that shit. Any kind of crazy CG fight sequences and all the aliens and stuff being there. It looked ungodly. It looked so unfinished. It was embarrassing to look at, bruh. Like, for real. Holy shit. And you know, you can't really say that it's, oh man, there was just so much going on. I mean, bruh, Endgame came out in like 2019 and it had way much more going on the screen and it looks way better. You know, say what you want about CG and stuff, it's like, bruh, it looked better then. In this film, it looks unbelievably unfinished. It is so fucking crazy to me how unfinished it looks. Especially in the bowl where you see the spinning moments of time and stuff. You see all the flashbacks and shit to previous events in time, like Ben Affleck and all that there, and Gail Gadot are there, and just they look so fucking like PC graphics, fucking PlayStation 3, Xbox 360 graphic looking asses, bruh. It is so crazy. It can just rip you right out of the immersion of the film, the idea that you're witnessing space and time in an instant, because it looks so fucking terrible. Christopher Reeve and Nicolas Cage and all these dudes just looks so fucking uncanny and weird and computer generated and fucked. So bizarre, so unfinished. Like, this is what I mean. if you're not releasing Batgirl or Batwoman or whatever the film was because it's not up to standard, you drop the Flash and its CG looks like it got like a rough cut, like the rushes of CG. What the fuck are we talking about, bruh? Brendan Fraser would be disgusted with you people. It's just a silly popcorn entertainment film. Like, you know, I wasn't like the plot itself as incoherent and all over the place as it was. It was not boring for 1 second. The film moves through very quickly. Again, that's why I don't like Batman vs Superman as much, because I just think the plot is just straight lame as fuck. This plot is just not boring. It's entertaining. That's the thing. It's an entertaining film. But you're just not looking at it and think, there's not a moment where you're like, man, my mind is being blown, or this is one of the greatest superhero events of all fucking time, massive crossovers and shit, because there's so much stuff about it that just look terrible, and just there's so much nostalgia fest and rose tinted glasses stuff. I'm like, oh, it's this guy, wow, Adam West is in The Flash as a little PNG of a guy running, and you hear his voice as an echo. Oh wow, computer PS3 graphic, Christopher Reeve is here. Nicolas Cage's Superman, remember that? All this kind of stuff. It's just like... yeah, you're trying, but it's like, you know, it's not. It's all from the last second, and it's just like, come on, bruh. Yeah, this film just felt really unfinished, which is a shame considering how long it took for the film to come out, for all the massive controversies and stuff. For all the switching of like directors and script writers and stuff, and the hype building up behind it, with people saying like, you know, James Gunn went to see and he said, oh man, this looked fucking amazing and stuff. Come on, bruh. It really just, it's not that spectacular, to be real. Even if you're a big Flash fan, I don't think it's like a major hitter either. It just exists, and that's how it is going to be now. Like, a majority of like DC films of this era are just going to exist. Yeah, it just is what it is. It's entertaining, a good popcorn flick, you know. I wouldn't say no to someone watching it. But yeah, like, considering it's supposed to be this big massive event thing with like Michael Keaton coming back and stuff, first time playing Batman in like 3 decades and shit. Come on, it's just like, okay, it's mid as fuck. It's one of the superhero films of all time, I'll say it again. Epic to lame ratio, finally, let's get it out of the way. I think The Flash 2023, one of the last final swan songs of the DC cinematic universe as we know it today, lands in a pretty snug high tier, pretty lame, which is not a bad, you know, high tier, pretty lame. It's not bad. It's just mid as fuck, and it is what it is. And there's nothing sterling. There's nothing phenomenal or amazing or fantastic about it. I think maybe if the DC cinematic universe was stronger, and if you viewed it in amongst it, I think it would stand out as a pretty good film. But in a vacuum on its own, and especially considering that it just kind of seems to stand alone, it has some elements of like these past films, but there's not a lot of it. And because a lot of these films in the past are just kind of lame, yeah, it's just kind of meh, nah. Entertaining, can munch some popcorn and watch it and have a goof and a gaff, but other than that, it's just nothing spectacular. Very forgettable. It's gonna disappear with the dust of time, and it just seems so unfinished. And I think it was also let down by the factors previously mentioned. It took way too long to come out. The hype and the development hell and the years of development behind it do not warrant the quality of the film, and Ezra Miller being a fucking maniac probably did not help proceedings either. But yeah, it is what it is. That's The Flash, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you thought of The Flash and DC films in the comments below. What's your favourite DC film? Let's get a dialogue about this. Man of Steel or The Suicide Squad are the ones I really like. Should I watch other ones? You know, I've not seen Aquaman or the other ones, Wonder Woman or anything like that. So, you know, if they're worth it, or if you think I should watch them, let me know. Let's get a discussion and discourse in the comments. There's always a good, healthy discussion in the comments. Yeah, thank you very much for watching this tube review. The Flash. Let's do a slow motion Snyder cut.